whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
My gosh.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
With the Pentagon releasing a new batch of UFO tapes, and the purpose of our humble channel being to tell the interesting bits of U.S. presidential history, this seems like the perfect time to revisit the UFO story told by our 39th president, Jimmy Carter, nuclear submarine technician, peanut farmer, and, yes, UFO believer. Or was he? It all began on a crisp fall night in October of 1969. Carter, then serving as a district governor for the Lions Club in Georgia, was about to give a speech when... well, we'll just let the president tell the story himself.
And I was in a small South Georgia town one night outside the schoolhouse waiting to eat supper and to talk to them. And all of us, there were 26 men, I believe, if I remember right, all of us saw a very bright light in the western sky. And it was bright enough to attract our attention, much brighter than a star. And it got closer and closer, and then it seemed to stop in its proximity to us. And then the color of it changed from white to blue to red. And it stayed there for a while. All of us were aghast at what we were seeing, couldn't figure it out. And then the light, that's all we could see, not a solid object, the light then slowly disappeared back into the direction from which it came.
Carter kept a lid on his UFO story and concentrated on his political career, running for and winning the governorship of Georgia in 1970. Then, in 1973, Georgia experienced a wave of UFO sightings, and Governor Carter figured it was time to come out of the shadows about his own UFO experience. The governor's announcement was picked up in the press and eventually made its way to the highest civilian UFO office in the land, the International UFO Bureau, headquartered in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. On September 14th, 1973, they leapt into action and dispatched a letter to the Honorable Jimmy Carter asking for his help. Dear Governor Carter, for the past 17 years, the International UFO Bureau, Inc. has researched the subject of unidentified flying objects, commonly called and known the world over as flying saucers. Reports have reached our office that you have observed the objects, and I am wondering if you would be kind enough to supply us with the details of your experience. And Carter, being a responsible citizen, filed his UFO report from 1969. Listing his occupation as governor and his address as the state capital in Atlanta. In the details of the report, he said the sighting took place in October of 1969, near Leary, Georgia. Carter wrote that the sighting lasted for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Now, flash forward another 3 years to 1976.
Governor Jimmy Carter of Georgia is hereby declared the 1976 Democratic nominee for President of the United States.
And Governor Carter is now running for the highest office in the land, and one of his campaign promises? To look into UFOs as soon as he is elected. And when the votes were finally counted,
James Earl Carter, the next President of the United States.
So what about that campaign promise about UFO disclosure? Well, that was quickly forgotten. And Carter's 1969 UFO sighting? On closer examination, it started to fall apart. UFO investigators uncovered the fact that Carter was wrong on the date. There was no Lions Club in Leary, Georgia in October of 1969. They had been disbanded earlier. And the investigators concluded from records that the speech probably took place in January of 1969, which, it turns out, also coincided with weather balloon tests being operated from Elgin Air Force Base near Pensacola, Florida, a little over 200 miles to the southwest of Leary. In addition to future President Carter, panicked Georgia citizens were calling in the sightings from as far away as Atlanta, 300 miles north of Elgin Air Force Base. Finally, on January 8, 1969, the Air Force released a statement explaining that the sightings were of ultra-high altitude weather balloon tests, which involved the release of barium gas resulting in various colors when hit by sunlight high above the Earth. So, did President Carter really see a UFO in 1969? Or was he just another politician making campaign promises to win the all-important UFO believer vote? In either case, the truth, as they say, is still out there.